Hello everyone, today I'm excited to introduce you to a brand new series that's incredibly funny, bold, thrilling, and now let's dive into the content. The story begins with the scene of a young man who looks like he's lazy and greedy, but he's actually the protagonist of this story. His name is Hao Xian, and just like his name suggests, he prefers a laid-back life rather than hardships. You might think he's just a useless person sitting at home waiting to die, but you couldn't imagine that he would actually cross over to another world. He's brought into a fantasy world of cultivating immortals, a world where everyone idolizes and admires those cultivating immortals. It's been over 3 years. And every day he sees these immortals flying in the sky fighting battles. Even a ferryman here is a hidden master. When he crossed over, he gained a system like many others, but it's a bit lacking and he doesn't bother paying much attention to it. Not only that, he also has a secret technique hidden in the host's home, but the name of this secret technique sounds a bit off, like it's some kind of joke. It's a mysterious ancestral martial art, and he has no idea what it's used for. On the other hand, he also has another secret on his back, demon wings, and he doesn't understand what's going on here either. As far as he knows, they belong to Western cultivators, so it's strange that he also has a pair. Everything seems to be in place for him, except for one thing, motivation. Lying on the table, he sighs, cultivating immortals is too exhausting. I really don't want to do anything except eat and sleep. But that's not a good solution. If I keep wasting time like this, I'll be punished by the heavens. In his mind, he imagines the scene of the Jade Emperor holding a stool and chasing after him, shouting, "Do you know how much effort it took for me to obtain this opportunity for you? Do you know how many people couldn't obtain it due to unalterable rules?" Feeling uneasy, he realizes he needs to do something about it. First, he decides to do 10 push-ups to regain some motivation. After one push-up, his expression changes. After the second, he's sweating profusely and turning pale, and before he can do the third, he collapses on the ground, feeling defeated. Forget it, let's just accept the consequences. I've tried my best, but I can't do it, he murmurs in resignation. He dreams of a powerful life of cultivating immortals, only for it to end so peacefully. He cries uncontrollably beside his portrait, saying, "Farewell. I pray you go to heaven and never encounter laziness again." Meanwhile, lying on the grassy plain, he thinks, "I thought being a useless person like me would just let life pass by. Cross over for a lifetime only to admire the clouds isn't so bad after all." Who would have thought that besides laziness, humans have another fatal flaw? Suddenly, the system reminds him, there's only 100 days left for the final task. Failure will result in the system immediately killing the host. He panics and shouts, "What is this? There's a deadline now. And what's with this killing?" Immediately after, he's given a surge of motivation and runs like mad. This damn system never mentioned there was a time limit. "I'm going to die soon, so I have to complete the task quickly or I'll really die." He rides a horse like a madman, constantly reminding himself, "I have to complete the task quickly or the system will kill me. I just crossed over here and haven't had enough fun yet. I don't want to die like this." He runs from this hill and crosses endless plains to reach his task point, which lies ahead of Yuntai Mountain, a seemingly ordinary mountain. He props himself up on the ground, panting heavily, and says, "Finally arrived. If it were any farther, my old hips would have snapped in half." Looking ahead, he realizes that the target of his mission is probably that worn-out ball over there. Damn, running for over 3 months for a torn ball. At least I made it in time. He touches the gem, and it immediately lights up. The system appears and announces, "Congratulations on successfully activating the gem. Next, let me introduce you to the heavenly place." The system explains, the heavenly place is contemporary to the era of the Jade Emperor, known as the Golden Age in the history of the heavenly place. Among the 12 martial arts peaks, any chosen one can defeat any leader from other eras in the heavenly place. However, the heavenly place was entirely destroyed in the year 1473 according to the Jade calendar, and all 12 martial arts peaks died in the battle. The mastermind behind the scenes is a group of 9 mysterious figures that unexpectedly appeared from the west. They call themselves the Night Organization, and he is currently in the Jade Calendar year 773, 700 years before the heavenly place was destroyed. His task is to increase the power of the 12 martial arts peaks, to help them surpass themselves and develop into top-notch individuals, to save the common people for the next 700 years. After the introduction, the system also rewards him for completing the first task. An item is given to him, the Great Sage card, a consumable item that can temporarily enhance the user's strength to a level capable of defeating deities. The second task for the host is initiated. The objective is to go to Flower Fruit Mountain and find Sun Wukong in his novice stage, and increase Sun Wukong's potential power by 30%, the system announces. As he witnesses Sun Wukong's image on the system screen, he freezes for 5 seconds. That fierce expression strikes him directly in the eyes. He angrily throws the system to the ground, cursing incessantly, "Are you kidding me? How can you call this the novice stage?" Then, in a fit of rage, he stomps on the system board relentlessly. Is it necessary to move halfway across the map just to watch a video? Can't we do it directly on the system? He exclaims furiously. I seriously suspect that your system is playing tricks on me. Do you know how I've managed to survive for the past 3 months? I've been in this crossover for 3 years, and I've never gone crazy like this before, you damn system. Fortunately, the first task has been postponed for over 3 years, and this task is probably the same, he says with a smirk, trying to ease his frustration. But dreams don't come easy. The system slaps him in the face with a notification, the task completion time is 3 days. Seeing this message, he loses it and shouts, "You damn system. You're a real piece of work, deliberately targeting me, aren't you?" After finishing his tirade, he grabs his belongings and runs like mad because there's no time left to argue with the system. Otherwise, he might end up selling salt and eating naked chicken. After 3 days on the outskirts of Flower Fruit Mountain, a group of people surrounds him. The one being besieged is our Hao Xian, who begs for mercy, saying, "Elders, please speak slowly. Please don't make any sudden moves." Surrounding him are fake cultivating immortals with fierce expressions. The old man leading them is one of the 3 major sect masters, Sect Master Tianmen Lu Yuan, in the late stage of Yuan cultivation. He says, "A mortal like you in this demon mountain, what are you doing here? Speak quickly." Terrified, Hao Xian stammers, "I'm just picking herbs and accidentally wandered into this place. Please forgive me, esteemed elder." Hao Xian thinks to himself, why does this have to happen? The Monkey King hasn't even been found yet, and now a bunch of cultivating immortals has discovered me. This person's appearance doesn't seem very friendly. Then a young woman speaks up, "Just a mortal daring to enter the area full of demons. Don't you know your own limits? Leave quickly." Hearing this, he stands up and retorts, "Yes, yes, little one, get lost immediately." But it's not that easy because the old man then smiles chillingly and says, "Wait a minute, I have a brilliant idea. Why don't we suck all the blood essence from this little guy, then refine it into a blood chi pill? Maybe we can attract 2 more demon beasts." Hearing this, Hao Xian's eyes widen in shock as he says, "What? Why would you suck out my blood essence?" He's sweating profusely as he continues, "Aren't you cultivators supposed to be righteous? How can you do such a thing? Moreover, isn't there a rule in the cultivating immortals world that cultivators are not allowed to harm ordinary people?" Hearing this, they all look dumbfounded, then burst into laughter like madmen, tears streaming down their faces. The old man maintains his terrifying expression and says, "You, little brother, are so naive and cute. There's no such rule here. The big fish eating the small fish is the only rule in the cultivating immortals world." Hearing this response, Hao Xian drops his jaw in disbelief and falls to the ground, stunned. He scrambles to his feet and says frantically, "Don't come near me. I'll have you know I have a secret weapon." Hao Xian quickly takes out the Great Sage card and thinks, there's no other way but to use it now. When I meet the Monkey King, I can think of other ways. After using it, he immediately feels a powerful and overwhelming energy surging through his body, feeling like he's about to explode. The others are baffled, not understanding what's happening. They wonder about the aura emanating from Hao Xian. Meanwhile, Hao Xian, feeling invigorated by the surge of power, thinks to himself, this is the feeling of being strong. It's amazing. He then looks at them with a fierce expression and sharp fangs, saying, come at me, all of you. Don't you want the big fish to eat the small fish? Today, I'll teach you all a lesson you won't forget. But within a second, everything disperses, and he's left confused about what just happened. The sect master witnessing this scene is left speechless. Hao Xian, shocked, thinks to himself, what on earth just happened? Wasn't that too short? Is this too short a time? At this moment, the system also appears and says, congratulations, host. The Great Sage card has been successfully used. Your Great Sage will arrive on the battlefield in 10 minutes. Hearing this windy remark from the system, Hao Xian's face darkens, and he cries bitterly, biting his teeth into his heart. What is this? Why didn't you mention the cooldown time earlier? Isn't this harming my teammates? Oh no, this is a disaster. What do I do now? Then, the old man rushes over and grabs Hao Xian by the collar, interrogating him, tell me, what was that aura just now? Suddenly, there's a voice from behind, hey, little guy without fur, what are you doing? Behind them is a gigantic dragon roaring continuously. However, the focal point is the figure standing in front of it, the real owner. He says, stop staring and listen to me, old man. Along with his words, many other monkey descendants appear, standing on top and wielding swords, looking quite cool. None other than the young Monkey King, Sun Wukong, in his prime. Monkey King then says, lately, you've been lurking in the shadows hunting down my descendants, right? Seeing this scene, the old sect master is terrified, thinking to himself, oh no, what bad luck. Running into the Demon King here. Why did he have to appear now? I only killed a few of his mid-level demon minions. Did he really have to personally come out like this? Going out to relieve some stress and ending up like this. There's no time to seek help from the ancestors anymore. Damn it, the old master gathers his spiritual energy and unleashes it into the sky, forming strange patterns. Then he shouts loudly, why are you all stunned? Stall for time for me. As long as I have time to deploy higher level spells. It'll be fine. Hearing this, the disciples panic and say, oh heavens, even our sect master dares to say that? That's the Demon King. Don't you understand? Hearing the disciples panic, the old sect master's face turns pale with fear. He mutters to himself, what can we do with our low-level spells? They're not even enough to scratch an itch. Prolonging the time for what? It's over. Am I really going to die here today? I haven't even had the chance to experience the scent of a man yet. The old man saw that the group had already lost all courage to fight, so he shouted loudly, enough of your nonsense. As long as my treasure absorbs enough energy, even the Demon King will have to die. Hearing the old man's arrogant words, Monkey King sneered and said, oh, impressive. If you're so confident, then I'll just lie here sunbathing and wait for you. No need to hurry. Prepare your spells well. If they're not strong enough, I can give you more time. The disciples were left speechless by Monkey King's actions, while Hao Xian kept clapping in excitement, thinking, exactly, the longer the better. The reason Hao Xian was excited was that his Great Sage card still had 8 minutes left to activate. Hearing Monkey King's arrogant words, the old man burst into laughter and said, it's all because of what you said. Don't embarrass yourself in front of your monkey descendants. After 5 minutes, the old man's ultimate move became extremely powerful, forming a vortex. Seeing this, Monkey King stood up and said, are you done yet? I've been waiting for ages. Monkey King's gaze at this moment was not excessive confidence but determination. Then the old man's attack directly struck towards Monkey King. Laughing like a maniac, the old man said, "You foolish monkey. Do you think you resemble the dumbest villain in novels? Do you know that this is the true immortal weapon bestowed upon me by the ancestors? Its only weakness is the lengthy activation time." One of the disciples, seeing this scene, exclaimed, "What is an immortal weapon? Is it a divine weapon from the heavenly place? Even I have never seen it before." With this, even the demon king would have to yield. After saying this, the old man exerted more force to deliver a final blow. Bidding farewell to the wretched monkey for their next encounter, a high-level magic circle appeared in the air, launching waves of attacks directed at Monkey King. The old man, thinking he had already won, smiled maniacally with confidence. The disciples behind him were also greatly affected, each of them forced to retreat due to the overwhelming power of this technique. Even Monkey King's descendants were caught in the same situation. The old man stood there shouting, "You wretched monkeys, go and die," as he launched his attack towards Monkey King. However, Monkey King remained standing there as if nothing had happened, with an amused expression on his face, suggesting that perhaps the technique was not as effective as intended. Then a loud explosion shook the area, causing the old man to jump back. Witnessing this, the old man laughed maniacally and shouted, "Haha, turn into dust, you wretched monkey. I told you that once the immortal weapon is activated, you will surely die. How dare you defy me?" Suddenly, a voice interrupted the old man's joy. "Are you celebrating a bit too early, old man?" Startled, the old man turned around to see who was speaking, only to be met with a giant Monkey King as large as a mountain preparing to strike. Terrified, the old man exclaimed, "What's happening? There are no wounds, yet he's becoming gigantic like this." Monkey King responded, "Take a good look. I'll show you what true power looks like." As the words trailed off, the punch was thrown with such force that it pierced through many mountains behind, narrowly missing the old man's face, leaving him frozen in place, too afraid to move. Witnessing this scene, the disciples were horrified and exclaimed, "Oh my God, a single punch just demolished several mountains." With a satisfied look, Monkey King looked down and asked the old man, "Do you still want to continue, little guy?" Seeing the almost absolute power displayed, there was no way to retaliate further. The old man cried out desperately, "The great monkey, unparalleled. Please spare this humble mortal a chance to live." Seeing the old man's intense distress, Monkey King shrunk back and approached Hao Xian with a gaze full of hostility. Bewildering him completely, Hao Xian, sweating profusely and trembling, stammered, "Mr. Big Shot, I didn't come with them." Meanwhile, the system panel nearby continued to announce that the Great Sage card would arrive in 40 seconds. Hao Xian panicked in his thoughts, "Mr. Big Shot, please don't pay attention to me. I'm just a side snack, why would you bother with me?" While he was lost in his thoughts, Monkey King had already swung his fist and said, "Your little guy just gave me an unusual feeling, quite uncomfortable, actually." Seeing this scene, Hao Xian was terrified to the point of desperation and shouted out, "Mr. Big Shot, please wait. I truly came to seek the Great Sage to be my master." Hearing this, Monkey King paused and inquired further. Seizing this opportunity, Hao Xian knelt down and said, "Master, please accept this disciple's bow. Since the age of 3, I've heard the legendary tales of the mighty Monkey King on Flower Fruit Mountain. The greatest dream of every child in our village is to ascend Flower Fruit Mountain and become your disciple. Today, finally, I have the opportunity to fulfill that dream. Please, Master, you must accept me as your disciple. Otherwise, I won't be able to live." Looking at the system panel, which indicated there were only 15 seconds left, Hao Xian felt a sharp pain in his heart. It was only now that he realized how slowly time passed in such situations. He continuously urged in his mind to extend the time a bit longer. Hearing his desperate pleas, Monkey King couldn't help but tease, "Oh, am I really that famous out there? Of course, I wouldn't dare to deceive anyone. If I were to lie, I'd be struck by lightning 5 times, replied Hao Xian, his words filled with anxiety. As soon as Monkey King uttered those words, he turned his face and said, in that case, you're even more deserving of death. With only 3 seconds left in his life, hearing this made Hao Xian terrified to the point of desperation. He kept asking, why would you say that? But Monkey King paid no attention and leaped forward to engage Hao Xian in combat. Because this Monkey King didn't trust humans at all, he also scornfully stated that humans were fundamentally unworthy of being his disciples. A strike from this Monkey King caused a large explosion. After the dust settled, he was curious and suspicious. What just happened? Where did that human go? Isn't that little guy just a mortal? Then, he turned back and was astonished. The scene before him now was a splendid golden armor set. Fortunately, at this critical moment, Hao Xian's great sage card arrived just in time. Now in the peak state of Sun Wukong, Hao Xian exclaimed, truly worthy of being the 12 peak bosses. He glanced down and evaluated his true strength, which was truly terrifying. Witnessing this scene, Monkey King also felt a bit panicked, thinking to himself, what kind of situation is this? Why do I feel so familiar with it? Hao Xian's formidable momentum at this moment was extremely intimidating, causing everyone to feel frightened. He glanced at Monkey King with a cold gaze, which made Monkey King take the situation seriously and think, why is this happening? Why do I feel so familiar? Suddenly, Hao Xian disappeared on the spot, only to reappear directly behind the old sect master. He grabbed a stick and struck the old man several times, saying, you immortal old man, did you want to refine me into a blood-chi pill? Everything in your life might be correct. But messing with me was a big mistake. As a super revengeful male lead, once he had power in his hands, no one could escape. He grabbed the old man's leg and continuously beat him while cursing, come here and fight, wasn't it you who initially said the big fish eats the little fish? Not only that, he even put the old man in a position for a spanking technique, causing the old man to cry out in pain without the strength to struggle. Hao Xian, filled with resentment, demanded, where is your arrogant strength now? Show it to me. Hearing this, the old man cried and pleaded, Senior, I was wrong, I was wrong. Please spare me. Witnessing this scene, Monkey King was initially bewildered, but then he grinned and said, this is getting interesting. He and his dragon companion emitted a terrifying aura as he said, alright, stop wasting time with that trash. Come play with me, your highness. After his provocation, Hao Xian also turned back to look, but before he could react, a resounding voice echoed, evil monsters dare to cause chaos. Accompanying that voice, a figure appeared in the sky, exuding an immensely powerful aura. Seeing this figure, the old sect master rejoiced and cried out, an immortal. A true immortal. Please save my child, he's being bullied by these malevolent monkeys. The old man laughed and pointed towards Hao Xian and Monkey King, saying, the immortal from the heavenly place has descended. You demonic creatures are surely doomed. The immortal smiled knowingly and said, that's correct. With his imposing demeanor, the immortal confidently said, why haven't you evil monsters bowed down upon seeing the heavenly place? Sitting on the ground, Monkey King retorted, the heavenly place. Just a bunch of featherless creatures. When I have time, I'll go up there and destroy you all. As he finished speaking, he immediately used the golden light binding spell. The immortal, however, didn't dodge or evade, standing confidently for Monkey King to bind him. Looking down with a cold expression, he said, ignorant fool, do you think you have any strength at all? He chuckled and boasted, is this all the strength you have? Let me show you how easily I can break free. After 30 seconds. The binding spell remained intact without any movement, leaving the immortal puzzled about what was happening. He then exerted force to break free, but the reality of being slapped in the face was swift and effective. No matter how much he struggled, it had no effect. He was now horrified, sweating profusely, and exclaimed, what in the world is this? How can the creatures of the lower realm become so powerful? While still trembling with fear and questioning the meaning of life, Monkey King's dragon approached, baring its sharp teeth eagerly. Witnessing this scene, the immortal was so terrified that he sweated profusely and pleaded, "Hey, please don't be so rough. I was just passing by, trying to show off a bit. Please, my brothers, don't overreact like this." With a quick swat, the dragon swallowed him whole, leaving a parting message, "Be careful down there, don't play foolishly like me. You'll meet your end someday." The sect master, shocked by this turn of events, was drenched in sweat as he muttered, "The celestial just vanished like that? Author, did you cut corners a bit too much?" Suddenly, the dragon's eyes changed, and a beam of light descended upon its body. Monkey King, observing this, chuckled and commented, well, looks like it made a breakthrough." Meanwhile, the old sect master lay on the ground in despair, murmuring, "The celestial, did you descend from afar just to give us more experience? It's over now, this time, we're surely doomed." From within the clouds, the initially red dragon had transformed into a different form. With its current appearance, it looked extremely powerful and impressive. The monkey descendants were terrified and exclaimed, "Heavens, it's getting bigger and bigger, like Flower Fruit Mountain." They looked up to the sky and whimpered, "Haha, I didn't expect to evolve into the 12 Dragon Kings. How exhilarating, it feels so good." Then, its eyes suddenly turned fierce as it thought, "Now I am the master. Even that filthy monkey is no longer my match." Before it could finish boasting, a golden cudgel descended from the sky. Witnessing this, it was astonished and asked, "What's this? I was just bragging a moment ago." It sweated profusely and stammered, what's going on?" Before it could recover from its shock, the golden cudgel fell, causing a tremendous explosion. At that moment, a massive crater was formed. The 12-winged dragon met its demise at the age of 765, marking the first death of a dragon in history. Witnessing this scene, the Monkey King and his attendants were instantly petrified on the spot, sharing the same fate. They saw their beloved Flower Fruit Mountain being destroyed. However, one among them had a more practical concern: "Where will we sleep tonight?" Hao Xian chuckled awkwardly and said, "Haha, sorry about that, it's my first time using this golden cudgel. The size is a bit hard to control." Meanwhile, the Monkey King remained fixated on the massive crater before him, his face turning pale with fear as he thought, "Oh my, even if I had another stick, I couldn't handle this." However, his inherent love for challenges never wavered. He turned back with a cold snort and said, "Relying on weapons doesn't make one a true hero. If you have the guts, let's settle it with our own strength." Seeing the Monkey King's confusion, Hao Xian agreed to this solemn proposal. He looked at the Monkey King with utmost confidence and said, "What do you want to compete in? Strength, speed, or endurance? Choose whichever you think you're best at, and I'll accommodate you to the fullest." Upon hearing these mocking words, it became furious and pointed its finger, saying, "I disdain you. You're only showing off because you have a slightly better weapon. So I'll use my worst speed to outdo you." Hearing this boastful talk, Hao Xian glanced over and retorted, "Worst speed? Huh, you foolish monkey." He silently thought, "I am your future, what are you best at that I don't already know?" After the banter, he displayed his formidable aura and said, "At the end of Penglai Island, do you know what is born there? An infinite flower. Do you know?" And upon receiving confirmation, he continued, "Very well, the one who obtains a petal of the infinite flower first wins." As soon as he finished speaking, he swiftly flew off. After gaining momentum in the air, he summoned his somersault cloud. At that moment, a streak of golden clouds passed by, and he grabbed a tuft of it before disappearing from the scene. Before disappearing, it managed to say, "I'll go ahead." The people below witnessing this scene exclaimed, "Such fast speed." The sect master, shocked, exclaimed, "Penglai Island is approximately 1,000,000 miles away." Then he turned around and saw that Hao Xian had also disappeared, startling him, "Oh, that monkey is also gone." Transitioning to Penglai Island, after landing face first, the Monkey King dragged himself up from the ground in frustration and shouted, "You despicable scoundrel, every time you fly, you don't care how you land, do you?" The somersault cloud also formed a disdainful expression towards him. The Monkey King angrily muttered, "Was it intentional? Those darn clouds were obviously intentional." After a while of cursing, it glanced at the infinite flower in front of it, smiling triumphantly because all 28 petals of the infinite flower were still intact. It seemed like victory was assured. After inhaling the fragrance, it returned to its original fighting position. Hao Xian looked up and asked, "Why are you just coming back now? This is not acceptable, being late like this is unacceptable. I've already returned early." It explained, rubbing its swollen face from being knocked down by the somersault cloud in anger, "I just had to deal with some other matters coincidentally. I was afraid of falling, so I chose to fly back on my own." Don't just stand there acting all pleased with yourself. Even if you come back early, it doesn't matter if you didn't get the lotus flower petal, you still lose, Hao Xian remarked with a surprised tone. "Oh, how do you know I haven't retrieved it yet?" Then it presented a lotus flower from the infinite pool, laughing loudly, "That's because I went ahead of you. I've already collected all the lotus flower petals and put them in my bag." The others gasped in amazement, "Wow, it really is the infinite lotus of Panglai Island. You managed to collect them all in just a brief moment of incense burning." The monkeys exclaimed in admiration, "Truly worthy of being the great king, you are so awesome." Hearing the praises, the Monkey King grinned triumphantly, but Hao Xian remained unimpressed and retorted, "What's the big deal? It's just a convenient way to do things." The Monkey King laughed maniacally, thinking it had won. At this point, it kept urging Hao Xian to admit defeat and stop talking nonsense. After hearing this, Hao Xian immediately said, "But there is a reason why I didn't pick the lotus leaf. It's because I didn't expect my body to accelerate so quickly that it caught the attention of celestial beings. To ensure safety, I hurriedly stopped without picking the lotus leaf." Upon hearing this, the Monkey King and the others fell silent on the spot. Then, it laughed so hard that tears streamed down its face and said to Hao Xian, "You're really good at bluffing." Along with that, the monkeys couldn't help but burst into laughter, holding their stomachs. "Huh, why didn't you mention that even the Jade Emperor saw you so scared that you fell down?" they joked. Then the Monkey King pointed straight at Hao Xian's face and said, "If you can really do that, then I'll plant a banana tree growing up to your house in the sky." Hearing this challenge, Hao Xian sneered, but to let it witness this power, he had to comply. He said, "It was already very dangerous just now. Do I have to perform it again?" Then he added, "Look closely, don't close your eyes." After gaining momentum, he shot forward at an incredible speed. A powerful shockwave was created due to his tremendous speed, tearing apart the space where he was. A fierce whirlwind generated by the excessively fast speed also appeared. The whirlwind column was so powerful that it pierced straight through the 9 layers of clouds. Witnessing this scene directly, the people and monkeys were extremely terrified, their mouths gaping wide enough to fit several lizards in. The sky at this moment also displayed unusual signs, with thunderous lightning flashing across the dark clouds, accompanied by an eye opening up, followed by a cluster of divine eyes opening to observe what disturbance had shaken the lower realm. At this moment, the young Monkey King stood frozen in place, looking in that direction and at the strange signs in the sky. His face turned pale with fear as he cursed, "What the hell is that?" Before he could regain his composure, Hao Xian had completed a full circle and returned. After successfully landing, Hao Xian exclaimed in amazement, "Damn, is he for real? Using such tremendous power, is there even any room for doubt?" Luckily, I had my eye-covering trick, or I wouldn't have been able to casually reveal my abilities next time. It's too dangerous. In this moment, the young Monkey King experienced a kind of emotion that he had never felt before since his birth, and he realized that this emotion was called disappointment. Its pride was in its speed, but it had been utterly defeated, causing it to lose its self-assured demeanor. At this point, the system also announced, congratulations, host, for helping to increase the potential of Sun Wukong's youth by 5%. The current potential value has reached 15%, revealing to the seniors that Neja will come next. That's all for now. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe for more. Thank you all for watching the video.